your talk on the dodo bird skeleton and the Maltese falcon. At the end of it, you were talking about redoing the Maltese falcon again because of the size differential. I was wondering if there had been any progress on that.
No, there has not been significant progress. I did meet one of the original Maltese falcons. I was allowed to, I can't say where or how, but I agreed to maintain some secrecy. But I did get about 350 super accurate photos of the bird. And then, are there any RPFers here right now? Yeah, the replica props forum is actually one of my regular daily visits for replicating props and costumes. And there's a guy right now running a thread, and he has sculpted a really magnificent bird that might just kill my project because it'll give me the bird that I'm looking for. But remains to be seen. I emailed him and asked for one of all three of the types that he's making, just to fill out my collection. I think I've got about 14 Maltese falcons at this point. It never ends. The dodo bird, though, the dodo skeleton is in a phase. I'm just about to actually build a new shop. Oh yeah, that was actually going to be part of my opening statement I was going to talk about. My wife and I moved recently into the Mission District in San Francisco, where off-street parking is absolutely necessary. So I've always had a shop in my house. I don't have a shop in my house. We couldn't give up the off-street parking, so what we're going to do, we realized actually we could get a space nearby. So I'm renting a studio space, a really nice roll-up door shop space about a block from my house. And it's really exciting. I move in about 8 days, build a floor, start to set it up, and I'll have a space I can work in. One of the first projects I want to do is I have a beautiful dodo skeleton. It's a copy of the Royal Ontario Museum's dodo skeleton that they have in their collection. I would like to take it and actually make a dead dodo. This all stems out of a show I did at the Berkeley Repertory Theater a long time ago where there was a chicken. Someone had to carry a couple of chickens out on stage. And so one of the prop makers, Lisa, took some canvas and sewed it into a chicken shape, like, chicken from the grocery store, put a couple of sculpty feet on it and filled it with beans and then glued feathers to it. It was a magnificently beautiful object. It was like a dead chicken that didn't sting. So for some reason, this is the bee in my bonnet I've got is wanting a limp, dead, fully feathered dodo bird lying on it. And people are like, what's that? I'm like, pick it up. I'm like, oh crap, that's up, dude. I want that feeling. Why? I really have no idea. But yeah, so I've got feathers. I've got like massive amounts of feathers. I've got articulated skeleton. I've got the filler. I've got I made some casts of the dodo's head, the skeleton head that I've got, so I can do several iterations of sculpting the dodo's face. And that's the next stage of the dodo. And I'll probably make it online. I'll probably do some documentation of that. Thanks.
I wanted to know my favorite specials you did were ninjas and the pirates, and out of both of them, what was your favorite?
Of all my ninja and pirate
episodes?
Should I talk about this publicly? Yes. It's not necessarily my favorite episode, but it's my favorite story from the ninja episodes. We got this call. We aired that first ninja special. They were like, "No, you guys are idiots. We saw a guy catch arrows on TV. He caught arrows on the Wrigley's Believe It or Not." And then this guy emailed one of our producers, and he said, "I'm a ninja." Which a friend of mine points out is like saying, "I'm a Minuteman." Like, the lineage of Minutemen pretty much is long died out, as it is with ninjas. But this guy's like, I had several world records in catching stuff. And he does. He has like 8 world records in catching shit. So we had him out, and we've run into this problem a few times on the show. We hire experts. And whenever you hire an expert, you basically are saying, we've gone to the best, and here's the example of the best in order to test this story. And while that seems like a terrific model for doing something, it's often hard to know that you have the best. It's very arbitrary delineation, and it turns out holding 8 world records in catching stuff doesn't necessarily qualify you to be the best at catching arrows. So we ended up having to do a lot of dancing in this episode to tell the story we wanted to tell. And I still stand by our results, but recently we actually did have a guest on the show, and I mentioned this a little bit, but publicly this is an exciting announcement. Seth Rogen is a huge fan of Mythbusters, it turns out. Yeah, and Michelle Gondry is too. Michelle Gondry's directed the new Green Hornet film, and Seth is starring in and producing. And so they contacted us a few months ago and said, "Do you guys want access to our special effects reel? You want to bust some myths from our movie on the show?" And we're like, "Totally!" So Seth came out, and we filmed with him for a week, and we blew some big things up. I mean, really like on par with Cement Truck. And Seth is great. Seth is he's probably the best guest we've ever had on the show. He really adds things. But there is this very funny occurrence. Jamie sometimes, if you can believe this, gets a little belligerent. And we're backstage, we're in the blueprint room, and we're filming an opening with Seth. And we're doing this description, and I'm using coffee beans in place of dirt because it's kind of funny, and coffee beans look great. And we have to, end with a joke. So Alice, my director, says, "Jamie, what do you got for a joke?" Jamie's like, I got something." So I go and do the joke. And Jamie's joke is, "Does anyone want some coffee?" And it kind of dies. And Alice goes, "Yeah, Jamie, that doesn't work." She's Australian. And Jamie says, "I like it." And Seth, trying to, fit in, goes, "I think it's good." And I go, hey, Jamie, I'm with Alice, I don't know if it works. So Jamie goes, "All right." So we go again, and he goes, "Does anyone want some coffee?" There's a pause, and Alice is like, "Jamie, I'd like something else." He's like, "Well, I like that one." She goes, "Right, well, we've got that one. Why don't you give me another?" And at that point, Seth goes, "Yeah, man, I get that direction all the time." This is pretty much the most common thing, because every take he does the camera is totally different. He's an improviser, he's a stand-up comedian, he's fantastic, and he gave us so much stuff to work with. But yeah, it was nice. A little commiseration between Seth and Jamie. Yes?
I love your show. First of all, I love your show. It's really awesome. And second of all, I wonder if there's going to be any more new Mythbusters episodes coming out. Can you tell me about that, please?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Well-spoken young lady. We have, if you haven't figured it out by now, and Discovery doesn't make it that clear, I think they could make it clearer. We air generally about 10 to 12 new episodes in the spring and 10 to 12 new episodes in the fall. And this fall is no exception. We have a new season of, I think, 12 episodes coming up, and there's some real doozies. The Green Hornet's in there, the underwater car is in there. We've got, you know the internet video of the guy with the motorcycle pulling the tablecloth out of the table this long full of silverware? We did that. It's really hard sometimes to get Jamie to wear the costumes. He doesn't like wearing costumes. That whole episode where we're jumping off the building and he had to wear the tracksuit, he was so pissed off. There was no problem keeping him wearing the full motorcycle leathers. He was really into it. We have, I think it's starting in late September or early October, is a whole bunch of new episodes, and it's really, that tablecloth episode is joined with the Cary Grant and Tori doing You Only Use 10% of Your Brain, which is really like a butt kicker of a story to tell in a reasonable way, and they killed it. This is actually one of my favorite episodes. I think it's an episode, when we saw it, we agreed it's probably the episode we're going to send out to the Television Academy to suggest that we should be nominated for another Emmy that we'll lose next year. Oh, no. Come on, we're always going to lose against something worthy. We've been around too long. Jane, thank you. Jane, next question.